So you've been battling IBD and you've done all the drugs, you've done all the natural approaches and therapies, but you're still sick. And I'm going to be showing you right now why you're still sick so you can finally start to heal your body. Now in this episode, you're going to learn 3 things that are explaining why you're sick that your doctors actually missed. I'm going to show you why your treatments and therapies are not actually helping you. And then I'm going to go over 3 things that you can do right now to start healing your gut naturally. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Josh Deck. I'm an IBD specialist, a medical lecturer and physician's consultant, and I'm going to show you that IBD and all of its symptoms are reversible. And specifically today, I'm showing you the reasons why you're still sick that your doctor has missed. So the 3 reasons you're still sick, as an overarching umbrella we're going to be talking about here, are the same 3 reasons I often talk about, but if you're a long-time listener, you've heard me before, hang in there, because we're going to go into some really deep detail on these 3 particular umbrellas. Well, we got 3 umbrellas of 3 things. Anyway, it's gonna be a good time. So we know there's 3 reasons that we're sick. Root causes, okay? Recirculation, and a lack of repair. Let me break that down for you. There's a root cause. This is the reason why you're sick. We have recirculation, which is going to be these issues continuing throughout your body, not getting out. And then we have a lack of repair. And this lack of repair is simply the fact that all this damage has been done, which is why you're inflamed. We don't actually aid that repairing process. So let's break this down a little bit more here. Let's talk about root causes. There are 3 main root causes that are going to be sitting under this particular umbrella. The only 3 reasons human beings get sick, which are going to be toxins, microbes, and deficiencies. Now here's what they look like. Toxins, metals, mold, parasites, pesticides, environmental toxins, recirculated indoor air that's unclean, all kinds of stuff is toxic to the body. Microbes are parasites, bacteria, fungi, and viruses, and deficiencies is all the things we need to thrive. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, water, sunlight, exercise, regular movement, rest, sleep, all that good stuff. Here's the problem. If you've been listening, you understand these 3 things, if this isn't your first episode. This is our really deep dive, and I actually want to talk about the labs you can even get into some of these, and again, the things your doctor's missing. So you have your toxins, we have your microbes, we have your deficiencies. The problem is your doctor has missed all of these because they assume it's an autoimmune condition, Crohn's colitis. They're not, or that it's genetic, Crohn's colitis, IBS, oh well, your family has it, you do too, or that there's no known cause. They don't even bother to look into what these things are. But even when testing, you go, oh, my doctor did some testing. What did they do? Well, they probably did a stool test to check for microbes, but they're checking for 3 to 5 pathogens. They might check for some viruses, they'll check for Shigella, they'll check for CMV maybe, they might check for E. coli or Salmonella or Varicella, really basic stuff. But at no point are they taking a full GI map. I've even spoken to clients who went to their doctor and said, hey, I got my stool sample, my GI map. They go, that's just a theory. We're in 2025, and your GI doctor thinks that the microbiome is still a theory. It's time to get a new doctor, okay? So your doctor's missing all of these by making assumptions that even when they do test, they're testing microbes on a very microscopic level. They're testing heavy metals, they'll check for 3 or 4, not 12 or 15 toxic heavy metals that are actively in our environment. I had a client who went to their doctor, and they said, my doctor tested for mold, I don't have it. They even paid out of pocket. They tested 3 strains. Did you know that the EPA recommends checking a minimum of 32 different strains? So their doctor did less than 10% of what you could get from any other recommendation. So even when they are checking for your root causes, they're missing them because they're doing a fraction of the broad spectrum and they're not even trained on this stuff. If we had to push and push to find a doctor for them who would test mold because it was insurance covered, they had to pay for a mycotoxin test out of pocket to the tune of about $400. And so these things can add up, but your doctor is missing them entirely. We know this is why you get sick. Wait, let's even talk about blood, right? We're getting to root causes, and what we do as part of roots, we can't always test for a root cause. There's not always a test. Parasites, for example, aren't a clear indicator for parasites. You'll get anywhere from 40 to 99% inaccuracies, if not 60 to 90% inaccurate on these different tests. So we have to look at other factors such as blood. Well, here's the problem. Reference ranges are a joke where your doctor will go through and say, well, you're within normal range. You can be at the top or the bottom of that range. Your doctor says you're normal. Did you know that this is a farce? because your blood work, the quote normal range, will change from state to state, city to city, province to province, because they take the general population in your area and they say, this is what the general population's blood work looks like, therefore here's our high and low end. If you're in there, you're quote normal. But we know that 92% of the population is metabolically unhealthy. Therefore, normal is already sick. And if you're within normal range, you could be ill. And all they're looking for is highs and lows. They're not reading the numbers in context to know if you're healthy. On top of that, let me know, I'm curious, with a quick yes or no. Did your doctors, drop it in the comments, has your doctor actually tested antibodies? Have they? I do a whole conversation on this. I got episodes on this, so I'm not going to repeat it. But to say it's an autoimmune condition doesn't make sense. Most cases have no antibodies, and the ones that do, very, very few are auto-antibodies, meaning they attack your own tissues. The antibodies are attacking other that shouldn't be there. But even in the case of auto-antibodies, the ones that should be attacking you, most of them are not. They just kind of look like they are, or it's a crossfire issue, or friendly fire. So when did your doctor last check your antibodies? Or do they say, here's your diagnosis, autoimmune, stop? Well, if most of you don't have any antibodies at all, but they're calling it autoimmune, how is that not medical malpractice? How are they getting away with this? And so your doctor is missing things by testing the wrong things. As far as I'm concerned, it's medical malpractice. They're making a lot of assumptions, not giving you the treatment that you need and deserve. On top of that, you go back to natural therapy. Right? We're dealing with triggers and root causes as our first issue. Well, of course, we got the toxins, microbes, deficiencies. We know blood's a joke. And you go, well, I've tried natural. I hear this all the time. I went the natural route. It didn't work. What did you do? Curcumin, omegas, slippery elm, vitamin D. You used anti-inflammatories. You're managing your symptoms. As far as I'm concerned, that is plant-based medication. So all you're doing is managing your symptoms with natural herbs and remedies to keep yourself from being more inflamed, but you didn't go after the root cause. The reason why you're sick in the first place. So that's the first reason why you're still sick that your doctor is missing, is root causes. They've not identified the thing, the toxin, the microbe, the deficiency that made you sick. Even when they are testing, they're not testing deep enough, which means they're missing the roots. So if you want to get better, we have to identify that root cause. Nobody gets sick for no reason. You can't be 30 years old, one day come down with Crohn's and have it be genetic. Bullshit. Something caused it. Your doctor just doesn't know what it is because they aren't taught this stuff. They are taught to identify your symptoms, give it a label, that's your diagnosis, and with that, like a checkbox, check, 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 I now can give you this med in this order. If it doesn't work, stage 4 is surgery. This is cookbook medicine. That's not healthcare. So the first reason you're sick, triggers and root causes, and your doctor's missing them entirely. The second reason you're sick. This one here is really important because what we've got is a trigger of some kind. So your microbe, your toxin, your whatever. Even let's say we identify it. One of the biggest issues that we have is recurring triggers. So whether it's an environment or a home that's making you sick, there's mold or something, and they're constantly recirculating. So you have recirculating or recurring triggers continuing to make you ill. Best example is a moldy home or mold in a workplace. Or maybe you have a vacation home you go to 2-3 times a year and there's mold there. I got a client right now I'm working with. She's got some homes around in, like Mexico and stuff like that, and they've got mold. And when she goes, she gets sick. She comes home, it's different mold, so she's different sick, but she's still sick. So the environment you keep going back to makes you sick. Maybe it's the bedroom upstairs and it's colder up there in the winter, so you go up there, well guess what? Maybe that's got mold and now you're getting sick on a seasonal basis. Maybe your environment, you're, I don't know, road tripping once a year and you're driving through farm country and you're staying in these areas for months at a time, or it's a work thing and there's chemicals. Your environment is continually recurring. You found the mold, but now you got re-inoculated with mold. Sometimes we'll also have these recirculating triggers. So we have something that gets moved around the body. Well, I did a heavy metal detox. I use cilantro. Well, cilantro is a mobilizer for heavy metals, but if you're not capturing and getting it out of the body, it will recirculate, it will land somewhere else. Now you've got neurological issues instead of just gut issues because the mold moved and got recirculated, reabsorbed. We often have what's called co-infections. Let's go back to mold, a great example. Mold creates an environment for lots of other things to join it in making you sick. Mold, prime real estate for parasites to live. Well, now that you got parasites in your system with the mold, what do? They create biofilms. Biofilms are a protective layer for what? Dysbiosis, or what we call gram-negative bacteria, bad guys to grow, which produce more toxins. And this is a prime environment under all of this for Candida to overgrow, which is a fungus. So mold invites parasites, they create biofilms, they cause inflammation, Candida overgrows, you got more dysbiosis, they produce toxins which load your system, and now you're sick or sicker. These are called co-infections. Your environment can make you sick. We can be recirculating and mobilizing toxins without getting them out. We can be continuing to inoculate through a toxic water source or a food source. I have a colleague of mine, and she runs a gut health company called Tiny Health. And they test vaginal microbiome, they do gut microbiome. They started with kids, now they do adults. It's a great company. She studies this for a living. She moved to Houston, Texas, started getting gut issues, tested her water. Guess what? Aluminum, pesticides, hormones, uranium in her water. So she's got all these toxins, and that was a new inoculation. Every single time she would drink, she would get sicker. So she was reintroducing those triggers. The problem is now you go through all this, you go, well, I've got my mold, I got my parasites, I took a parasite protocol, I got sicker. Guess what? Drainage. You have 7 main exit doors. You could argue 9 in the body, but 7 main exit doors where things leave. Your liver, gallbladder, and bile ducts are 2 major ones in bowel issues, Crohn's, colitis, IBS, that need to be opened. If those are not open and you go to kill off the parasites, you're evicting tenants from the building, but the doors are still locked. So they just move back in. A lot of antiparasitics are paralytics. Guess what happens when they wake up? Oh, I'm still home. I didn't slide right out of the bowel. So these are big issues. Your lymphatic system, your skin, your sinuses, your kidneys. These are all drainage pathways, exit doors, even on a cellular level. We have drainage. If you're not getting these guys out of your system, you're going to continue to recirculate. Because you packed up the garbage, but nobody took it to the curb. It just got stuck in a different room. This is a recirculation issue. That's the second biggest reason why you're still sick. So the first, we got triggers and root causes. They're not being addressed, or they're being, quote, addressed and being missed. The second thing is a recirculation or a recurrent trigger continuing to make you sick. But let's say, just for argument's sake, so many people have gone through, they went natural, they did what they did, and they got better. And they go, man, I felt amazing for years until I didn't. Suddenly I got sick again. What happened? And the rest of the world goes, see, I told you it was autoimmune. See, you were just in remission. See, it's going to come back. See, there's no cure. Wrong. What happened was A, you got re-inoculated and got sick again, and or B, there was an extreme lack of repair. Repairing what? Let's talk about this. You go through, you're dealing with IBD, IBS, you got C. diff a couple of times over, your doctor gives you antibiotics. You got an infection, come in, your doctor goes, well, let's try some antibiotics. Let's wing it. They never address the issues that antibiotics cause. Fungal overgrowth, bacterial imbalances, mitochondrial, so cellular energy production, drainage, detoxing on a cellular level, never gets healed or addressed. The gut lining never gets repaired. Antibiotics damage all of that. So now you have a terrain, and you wonder why nothing grows in the garden when the soil is tainted. We never address the immune system. What happens in IBD, these are called immune-mediated responses. It's been downgraded from autoimmune per the Mayo Clinic, the CDC, the Crohn's Colitis Foundation now recognize it's immune-mediated. Now, they leave it under the, quote, autoimmune umbrella, even though the antibody theory doesn't actually line up. I believe it's so they can use their multi-billions of dollars worth of drugs and keep selling them to you. But I digress on that one. What happens, instead of your immune system being in checks and balances, your immune system is hyperreactive. This is an immune-mediated response. Instead of you getting upset and going, I'm just gonna take a breath and shake it off, you freak out and punch the mailman, right? That's an immune-mediated, hyperreactive over-response. They leave you like this. They never address why. They never actually bring your immune system back to balance and get it back to regulating itself. And so your immune system is now hyperactive or hyperreactive to any insult, injury, stress, toxin, anything. So we never repaired that. We never addressed the basics. When was the last time your doctor talked to you about sunlight? Vitamin D, vital in IBD and immune disease, autoimmune disease, absolutely. When was the last time your doctor talked to you about nutrition? Most GI specialists, gastrointestinal or gastroenterologist specialists in the gut say eat whatever you want, food doesn't matter. Tell me that's not crazy. Tell me that what you put into your gut doesn't affect your gut. That's like saying what I put into my gas tank doesn't affect my car. It's absolutely asinine, and again, should be medical malpractice. They don't talk about exercise. They don't talk about sleep hygiene, waking and sleeping with the sun, the circadian rhythm, your immune system, what it does to your stress responses. They don't talk about any of it. They never talk about cleaning your system out from the leftovers. Once they've given you all these toxins, these biologics, all these drugs and medications, they never talk about cleaning up the toxins they put into your body after infusions or steroids. There's an extreme lack of repair. So you've got an imbalanced immune system, cellular toxicity, you've got all kinds of dysbiosis, mitochondrial dysfunction, leaky gut lining issues, you've got a nervous system dysregulated, you're nutrient depleted, and you wonder why you get sick again. Because there's a lack of repair. Your doctors never address this, frankly, nor will they ever. It's just not in their curriculum. Here's our issue. You get sick for 3 main reasons. We have toxins, we have microbes, and we have deficiencies. The problem we run into, the toxins, the microbes, and deficiencies are never found to begin with. Number 2, you get desperate. You try it on your own, which is amazing. I'm advocating for you. I'm here. I'm rooting for Team U. The problem is those toxins or deficiencies and microbes never get detected. And then you try to work it on your own, or you get some help or see a practitioner who says, I do functional medicine, and it's just plant-based medication. These things end up recirculating because they never actually got properly removed. And even if you did get lucky and you found someone who was able to identify and remove it, and you forgot to repair the terrain in which your body is trying to plant seeds in to grow healthy, good fruit for it, so to speak, you're missing these layers. And so you're continually sick. We're recirculating, we're re-inoculating, we're not repaired, and you're left weak. Your system is left down. Your defenses are down. And we wonder why we keep getting sick. So I'm going to launch into now 3 things that you can be doing right now to get some help. Because if you want to identify this, do what your doctor's not doing. You have to advocate for yourself. No one's going to care about your health more than you. Maybe me. I get pretty fired up about this because of the injustice of it all, but I can't care about your health more than you do. So I'm not, I get people all the time. They come to my inbox like, Josh, I'm desperate. I need help. I'm like, what's going on? And then they just don't respond back. So I'll check back in a week. Hey, did you want some help? Like, can I get you something? They'll leave me on red and never get back. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I can't care more than you can. Nobody cares more than you. So here's 3 things you can do right now. Number 1, you can get some functional lab testing. Now I'm going to caution this one. Here's why. I've had people come to me, I'm not joking, $10,000, $15,000 worth of lab testing, and they've gotten nowhere. They don't have any answers. They're no further ahead. They're still left confused. All this lab testing has gone nowhere. They've tried to identify the root cause. They did a GI map. These can be great in place, right? A stool sample. They can be, a total tox test is a great test. A total tox from somewhere like Vibrant Wellness or Vibrant America. They'll check for mycotoxins, heavy metals, and environmental. So mold, heavy metals, and things like glyphosate, microplastics, all the stuff around us that makes you sick. They can test for that. You can get an HTMA. Dr. Stephen Cabral even offers them for free within the USA. It's part of their intake process. That's a hair tissue mineral analysis. Now, it might show heavy metals, it can show minerals and different stuff, but in the right context to a practitioner who knows what they're doing, they can tell drainage and detox, they can tell adrenal issues, they can tell stress, they can tell cellular dysfunction, they can tell all kinds of stuff. From this, a very simple HTMA test, a little bit of hair. You can use pubes if you got them, you can use hair, leg hair if it's long enough, whatever you want. A mycotoxin test is mold specific. I've had clients get those. Or again, that GI map, which is a stool sample. Whereas the organic acid tests all the byproducts on a cellular level within your body through pee. There's all kinds of lab tests. My caution in this one is you have to, if you're gonna do one, you have to pick based on what you believe your root cause to be. So you still need to identify that. Otherwise, you'll keep testing and guessing and getting nowhere. Every test we get does come with some diminishing returns. So if I get a GI map and an organic acid test, I get a crossover of some information on both. Same with an HTMA, the organic acid in that hair tissue test have some overlapping information with different contexts and specificities. So working with somebody who knows what they're looking at can save you a ton of money on testing. Okay? The second one that we want to do, I'm going to call it decongest. But this doesn't mean decongestants for your sinuses. This is decongesting your body as a whole. We talked about drainage pathways, right? Liver, bile, lymph, sweating, sinuses and sinus rinses, things that open these up, getting that drainage opened up so things can exit your body. We want to decongest, so to speak, your nervous system. Good sleep hygiene, good stress management, electrolytes. If you got stress issues, man, sodium, like proper salt, good pink Himalayan, like Redmond's or a rock salt, a sea salt, because you need that sodium. Good quality food, whole foods. I have 3 rules for IBD when it comes to diet. Number 1 is whole foods. 2 is going to be tolerable foods. And 3 is low histamines. So whole foods are natural, grow on the earth. Great-great-grandmother would know that it's edible. Tolerable foods are going to be foods that don't bother you. And low histamine are foods low in histamine. So you can Google that one. So on top of that, a good water filter, not a Brita, right? Like a proper filter, a distiller, something that's going to be high quality. The third thing we can be looking at, guys, get help. I don't care if you think I'm a weirdo, you can't stand me, think I'm too complicated, too loud, too passionate, whatever it is, get help. This doesn't have to be a DIY issue. You've been working on this for months, years, some of you decades. You've been working on this, you still have no answers. I see people all the time coming to my inbox like, thank you for the info, I'm gonna try on my own. Well, how long have you been trying? Well, 10 years. You think you're gonna get it now? Now, I'm not saying you need me, I'm saying you need somebody. I don't care, we do this. This is what we do for a living. But there's lots of functional practitioners out there who are remarkable at this as well. But get help. Save the money. You don't need to spend $15,000 on lab testing. A good practitioner might save you money and need 0 lab tests because they understand your history, your symptoms, your blood, things you already have. You don't need more. A good practitioner will be able to decongest your system and understand what's relevant to you right now, making it simple and applicable, to take away the guesswork, to get you where you need to go. It can be very, very simple if you're willing to lean in to get some help for this. So if you want to look somebody up, do some Googling. If you want to get some help from me, I'm going to show you how you can do that for me and my team right now. It's very easy to do. First things first, all you got to do is send me or drop a comment below with the word solution and check your DMs. I bet you 70% of people who comment the word solution never end up getting a message back from me because they never reply. I've got an automated system on Instagram. You comment solution on this video, it's gonna drop you a DM. Get back to me because you'll have it in your inbox. If you're listening on YouTube right now, you're on the podcast, you're like, dude, I need help, like this makes sense. I want to take away the guesswork. Very simple. Check the links in the notes below. And you can send me an email, ask a question, book a call with me and my team. Like, we'll see if we can get you some help and see what that looks like and talk about that. It's very simple to do. We take away the guesswork. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to see you all next week, same place, same time.